Hello, and welcome to Mind Your Head, a space for people to share their stories, talk openly and honestly about their own mental health challenges, and to give some listeners some comfort in knowing you're not alone. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we record this podcast, the Gubbi Gubbi people. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Indigenous peoples. We honour their enduring connection to the land, waters and culture, and recognise their invaluable contributions they make to our communities. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
This episode is proudly supported by True Protein. Use the code MINDYOURHEAD at the checkout to score $25 off your next order. This episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself.
Welcome to Mind Your Head, Luke. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Obviously, such a big fan of yours. I'm so fascinated about your story. Obviously, we've spoken a little bit earlier this morning, but the highs of playing in NRL and then to the highs of book talk stardom. It's been an incredible journey over the last 12 months, and thanks for being here.
No, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
How's the last 12 months been for you? It's been a bit of a whirlwind.
Oh, I mean, it's probably only been really like the last sort of 4 or 5 months, to be fair, but it's been really enjoyable. Like, it's nice I was saying to someone the other day, it's actually really nice like, I've obviously done a few different things in life that I've been known for. And it's really pleasing and just joyful to actually be known for and be in a space and talking in a space where I'm truly like passionate about the topic, because there's been things where in the past that I haven't really been passionate about them. They've just been things that I've either been good at or just something I'm doing, and you don't have that level of it just doesn't come from like your soul when you're in those spaces. Yeah,
and it definitely does. Like, it definitely shows on your videos, and it's something that I am drawn to.
Yeah,
is that I don't think I share the same love and obsession that you do for books.
Yeah.
Right. And that's truthful. But I sit and watch all your book reviews.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the book.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But I sit and watch it all.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you can feel the love and passion that you have for it.
Yeah.
And it's it shows. It really does.
Well, I think obviously people just enjoy seeing like honest authenticity, like in whatever space that's in, people when we're truly passionate about something. I think that draws like that energy, draws people in.
Yeah. So there's a lot of topics that I'd like to cover with you today. We've spoken a little bit about them in the sauna this morning. But firstly, I'd love to know what your childhood was like. Where did you grow up, and how did the community raise you?
That's a great question to start off with, mate. So I grew up in Western Queensland. Originally I was in town in Miles. Then when my mum met my stepfather, and I was only like 3 or 4 years old, so I don't remember life before my stepdad. So my stepdad's my dad, but so when mum met my stepfather, he was managing a cattle property just about 20 minutes outside of Miles. So we moved out onto the cattle property with him, and then spent the next sort of till I was 15 out on the farm. And it was a typical country childhood, especially like in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was, footy and swimming and just school, and you knew everyone in town. I think we had 120 kids at our primary school, so you knew everyone. Yeah. And it was just a really nice, community to grow up in, actually. Yeah.
You're one of 5 siblings, is that right?
Yeah. Well, I have a twin sister and an older brother, and then I have a stepsister and a stepbrother. Yeah. So so I'm one of 5. Yeah.
How is that for the family dynamic, especially being a twin?
Really, really good.
Is it?
Well, we have I've got a really amazing family, actually. Yeah. So my stepfather, he's my dad, and my step siblings, I see them as my siblings. So we have a really beautiful family, actually. Like everyone's really nice. I really love my family.
Yeah. What's something that something about your childhood that a lot of people wouldn't expect or know about you?
Oh, I mean, they probably know it now, but I think for so long, Mike, they always think, whenever people ask me, like, what's something that people wouldn't know about you, wouldn't expect about you, my answer was always, I love fantasy books. But it was sort of like, that was like just something I kept really private and really sort of hidden about myself. And as a kid growing up, like I always used to. I remember I used to have a trampoline outside of the farm. I used to jump on the trampoline. I'd play make believe. Like I had all these characters and all these like stories in my head that I would play on this trampoline. Like I'd go and jump on the trampoline and I'd be like a hero in a story. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I always had a vivid imagination and there was, I always loved like escapism and fantasy.
Yeah. Was there any pressure to hide that as a kid and fit into like the country, the country mold of a man?
Yeah, absolutely. Like growing up in the country, I don't think there's a lot of room. I was raised around very stoic men in a way, and there's not a lot of room for reading books about dragons or there's not a lot of room for make-believe because when you're on the farm, it's if you weren't at school or you weren't, playing footy, you weren't doing something, there was stuff to be done on the farm.
Yeah, you're working.
And you're working, yeah. Like there was, you were contributing to what was going on. So, and my stepfather is like one of the hardest working men in the world. It was, 7 days a week, there was always something to be done. And he's not a man who has a lot of time for fantasy.
Were there moments where you didn't feel like you fit the mold?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I didn't feel like I really struggled with feeling like I was normal. I always thought everybody else was normal, and I really tried to be like, okay, well, don't show this part of yourself. Just do what everybody else does,
yes.
and just
stay in line.
Exactly. Yeah, and just don't because they'd be thinking like, oh, I'd love to talk about this, but I'm like, if I talk about this, everyone will think I'm weird. Then I'll be the weirdo. So just don't talk about that.
Is that what pushed you to play footy? Obviously, you got a love for footy and a passion for it as well. But
I mean, growing up anywhere in Queensland really, but in country Queensland, and like rugby league is
religion.
That's what you do. It's your religion. So. Every kid in town played footy. Everyone watched footy. It was all people talked about. Like it was just what you did. It was just a way of life. So straight away, like my brother played football, and then I played football, and that's just what you did. That's what your dad did. Your dad played footy for A grade and reserve grade or whatever, and then you played in the juniors.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Mate, that's just how it was. So, and I love footy. Like I love the game, and I was obviously like good at it. I was athletic, and it was something that I as a kid, like I drew a lot of, I suppose I definitely drew like a lot of worth and value from being good at it. When you're a young kid, you're a young boy, a young man, you want to find you crave value and worth in the world, or to know to know the space that you feel like you
belong or feel important or something.
Exactly.
Because I felt that too. Because I when I was going through school, I honestly thought I had learning difficulties, and I've spoken a little bit about this. And I felt dumb. Like at school, I was just like, I feel stupid.
Yeah.
I'm always like failing. I don't get anything. Nothing comes easy to me. But with rugby, well, sports in general, but particularly rugby, that just came naturally for me. And I was always like, when they picked teams, Elliot, like I was always first picked, and I was just like, fuck, this feels good. Like I feel wanted. I feel needed. Like I feel respected.
Yeah.
I had all these things that I never got sort of outside of it. So then I just craved it. I just like went all in on it because I was like, I never want to feel like that ever again.
Yeah.
I always want to feel like this.
Yeah.
So it became like an addiction to get that external validation because I probably wasn't. I didn't think I had that in myself. I don't think I had that love and appreciation for myself. So I was needed it from other people. And I was always like addicted to getting that external validation or attention from other people. So that just drove me even further to go down the rugby path.
Well, 100%, mate. I think, as a young boy, you crave to be confident and competent in an area, and then you find that area. And as you said, and you get externally validated, and you're just like, oh, I just want more of it. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
Was there a moment where you thought, I could probably give, footy a pretty good crack here?
Oh, I mean, I signed what would you call it? Like a training scholarship when I was 12 So
When you're 12.
yeah, when I was 12. But back then it was a lot different to what it is now. The rules have changed. So nowadays you can't even like sign a kid till they're 15.
Yeah.
Which is actually like very healthy.
Yeah, which is
like I shouldn't have been signed when I was 12. Like that's ridiculous.
12-year-old.
Mate, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it's stupid. But that's just what the industry was back then.
Yeah. What was the club?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So mate, you had like scouts, recruits at the under 12.
How do you know at 12 years old that kid's going to, like,
mate, well,
they just lock him down, eh?
No, you don't. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
But back then it was just cast a wide net and just hope.
Hopefully we'll get a diamond in there.
Exactly right. Yeah. So I made the Queensland schoolboys when I was 12 and signed like a training, like a scholarship sort of thing with the Raiders. And that was probably when I was like, okay, this is like a future for me. And I'd always looked up to, you're a young kid and you love footy, so you want to play in the NRL. Like every young boy's dream, you want to play in the NRL. And so you looked at the footy players and then you saw, I'd love to be one of those one day. And then you sign your scholarship and you're like, this could actually be a reality, yeah.
I wonder if, because I think about this a lot, I wonder if we were doing it for us or if we were doing it for other people.
Oh.
Because I was like, I would love to make my dad proud and like,
yeah,
pull this jersey on for dad, or like, people expect this from me because I've been playing, they've always been like, oh, Elliot, you're going to make it one day. And if I kind of felt like if I didn't do it, what a failure would I be? Like, who am I without it? Did you feel the pressure at all? Or?
Mate, that's a really good question. And it's like a really good thing to reflect on, I think. But I look back and it's really hard to say, because I know at that time as a kid, like that's genuine, like that's something I really enjoyed and I loved, and it was something I aspired to be. So I don't think it would be fair to, as a 30-year-old man, knowing what I know now, look back at it through the lens of who I am now, because it was a completely different person, So it's a hard a hard question to answer. But I would say there are definitely certain like conditionings that we have as children that make those things seem much more appealing. Yeah,
for sure. And so if I read this right, so when you made your professional debut at 2015, did you graduate on the Friday and then play on the Monday or something?
Nah. That would be what you're thinking of. Is I graduated school Friday and drove to Canberra Monday when I was 17.
When you're 17?
Yeah, so they were in pre-season.
Oh right, yeah.
And I was I was in. They were in pre-season already in Canberra, and I graduated school Friday. And
no schoolies.
No schoolies, yeah.
No schoolies,
like all my mates. And this is another thing that I look back on. Like I was a 17-year-old kid, and the footy was like, mate, you have to be here. You can't go and like experience, like you can't go and have a good week with your friends. It's us.
Yeah.
Like you have to be here. Mate, what would 5 days when I was 17 years old
cost?
It's so ridiculous. Yeah. Like what the demand that the young boys, or the expectations that are placed on young boys. At the time, I was like, yeah, like this, this is a sacrifice you have to make. This is the hard work you have to do. I look back now and I'm like, they robbed me of like what could have been like some of the best memories with my mates.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
5 days of training.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just ridiculous, the expectations that are placed on young men in that world at the moment.
I saw a video the other day where it was Isaac John, who owns the YKTR brand, the clothing brand and stuff. He talked about it, and when he got to the Panthers as a junior and stuff like that, and the coaches were saying to him, these times here will be the best times of your life.
Yeah.
To enjoy it. And he was always thinking like, why? Why will these be the best times of your life? Like, I really want to challenge that narrative and attitude. And don't get me wrong, like the footy days, I look back at with the fondest memories and some of the best days, but the times I've had outside of footy, surpassed the times that I was playing footy. And
absolutely, mate. The worst days of my life were during those years, and I mean, like obviously that, I'm not blaming football for all of that, but it certainly contributed.
Yeah, pressure. I guess the pressure of, because I talk to a lot of parents and a lot of coaches and stuff, where what it is now, like kids are finishing school or still in school and they're on a couple of $100,000 a year, or I know a kid signed 4 years, $1 million.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even played first grade yet.
Yeah.
He's still a teenager.
Never even played Jersey flag.
Never played Jersey flag. And he's just leaving high school.
Yeah.
And he's earning more than his parents will ever earn in probably their lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what pressure and expectation these putting on these young kids that you have such a small window in life.
Yeah.
You know, and they're putting all this expectation on kids to be 17 years old and be like, you're getting all this money.
Yeah.
You're in the adult world now. It's crazy.
And also like, and my story, like I was similar. You give a 17-year-old kid, however much money, they don't learn respect for money. They don't learn like good financial behaviors. They don't learn that, you know, a lot, like 99% of the world, like you have to work very, very hard, very consistently for a long time to create wealth and create financial freedom. And then you give this kid that, and then what happens when that boy is 21, 25 or 30, whatever, and that money stops and they go like, oh, hang on a minute. I've never built the framework or the values or the discipline in finance to, you know, create a sustainable income. Because you see it all the time when like blokes come out of football and they don't know what to do and they
go from here to here.
Yeah, because you never built those like the building blocks of life as such.
And probably understanding that this isn't normal. I want to say to a kid at 17 years old, I know you're just coming into the workforce and I know you just signed this contract, but I want you to know you're in the 0.001% of earners in Australia and even the world. This isn't normal.
Yeah, but how a 17-year-old boy who doesn't have the awareness or doesn't have the experience, like that means nothing to them. Like I had mates, you know, my first year I was 18, I think I earned like 60 or 70 grand in my first year playing footy, which is not a massive amount, but for an 18-year-old, huge money.
Massive.
My mates are on $12 an hour, $11 an hour as first year apprentices. Do you know what they built was respect for money and discipline in finances. Like I would come home and be like, let's go out. They'd be like, I can't go out. I don't have the money. I'd be like, what do you mean you don't have the money? You know? And then I got to the age of 20, you know, 26, 27, whatever. And I come out of football and the money stopped. And I was like, hang on a minute.
Fuck, this is tough.
What do I do? You know, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean there's no money?
There's budget.
Yeah, like,
budget.
What do you mean I
can't afford this?
What do you mean I can't go buy that? What do you mean I can't go out to dinner?
It's a real shock.
Yeah.
How did you handle? Let's talk about your debut and how did you handle the pressure, the limelight? Such a young age. Did you cope with it well? Because I know for me personally, I didn't handle it quite well. I didn't handle the probably the expectation of playing well. I could probably look back on it now and say that I had a bit of performance anxiety. If I got in my own head too much, I knew that I would just have a bad game. So I didn't have the tools and, you know, tactics that I do now. And hindsight's always, I don't know, a good thing. I wish I could go back playing now, knowing what I know. I think I'd be a different athlete, a different player. How did you handle it at such a young age?
Oh, I was probably so unaware of like
the magnitude
my emotion.
I
was so unaware of my emotions. I probably didn't even really like. I was probably nervous and just didn't even know what I was feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I was okay. I would say I was probably just normal. Like I was nervous.
Yeah.
Didn't want to make mistakes. Like didn't want to fuck up on your debut sort of thing. But was also like excited and just keen to get out there.
The dream come true.
Yeah. Tried to enjoy it as much as possible. I only got like 15 minutes in my debut at the very end of the game, so it wasn't anything wasn't anything amazing
to get nervous about. Was there like a welcome to the NRL moment? I've had mine. I don't know if you know Artie Savir. He sort of captains the All Blacks and All Black legend. My first game, I was 20 and he was 17, just finished school.
Yeah.
And I got the short ball, went through a gap. 9 times out of 10, I score a try.
Yeah.
Actually, 10 times out of 10, I've never been not stopped, held up over the line or anything like that. I've always just scored in the corner.
Yeah.
And I'm already like smiling because I'm like, try and debut. Like, how good is this going to be? Like, I haven't even scored the try. I'm probably 10 meters out and I'm already smiling. I was like, fuck yeah. And then all of a sudden, this monster like grabs me from behind.
And he was 17.
17, so he just finished school.
Yeah.
He just monster. I just felt like this dude grabbed me from behind, rolled me over, and I like just outmuscled me and held me up over the line. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like trying to put it down, and he was just like not letting go. And I'm thinking, who the hell was that? And I get up and it's Artie, and then fast forward like not even a couple of years, and he's already in the All Blacks. And I've watched footage of that moment.
Yeah.
Man, he comes from nowhere. Like everyone else sort of gave up. He came from nowhere, dove, grabbed me, rolled me over, and I was just like, what a freak, eh? And to see, where his career's gone and I think he's won World Player of the Year a couple of times. Like he's an absolute icon.
Yeah.
Did you have experience a moment when you sort of during your career when you were playing and you thought, even lining up against someone, you're going, oh shit.
Oh, I mean, my very first game was against the Sharks in Cronulla, and Paul Gallen. I remember my very first carry. Paul Gallen just like beelined it straight for me. Yeah, and he didn't and I seen him coming. And sort of like he like got me, but not like didn't.
He wanted to. Yeah.
And that was a bit of a like if you asked like if there was a bit of a welcome to first game moment, like that was it. I was like, oh yeah, like
not a bad welcome.
There's blokes coming for me. Like
how old were you?
20.
You're 20. Yeah,
I was 20. Yeah. So. And but I don't know. I was never I came off the bench most of my career, and I was never a real target. I didn't.
You had a real threat.
Yeah, I wasn't a real threat, mate. No one needed to put me. No one needed to put me out of the game.
Yeah. What were the highs? I mean, did you play? You played 70 odd games for the Raiders.
In 2016, we had our run. We won like 12 or 13 games in a row or something, and we were just
humming.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, we were just humming, and that was good. Like
I think that it was when BJ Leilua and Jordan Rapana were just like killing it, and I think Blake Austin was killing it too.
It was the
best.
It
was good to watch, eh?
Mate, it was just silky. It was great to play with them when they were like on fire, because we'd be down. Like I remember we played the Tigers at Balmain, and we were down 24-0 within the first 20 minutes. And it sounds so stupid to say this, but I knew that we were going to win because I just like the blokes that we was playing with, they were just in a purple patch. And whatever they did, you just knew like they were just going to score tries.
Yeah. And
it was just, you get down the other end of the field and I was like, I don't really know how, but I know we're going to score. And then someone like BJ or Rapper or Jackie Whiten was playing unreal at the time. Blake Austin was having like an unreal year. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know we're going to score. And then sure enough, like
came back.
They'd score. Yeah, we came back.
We came back and won. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to have that confidence, in the team. You're just wild, like, even though we're done 24 points, I know we're still going to win this.
It was, mate, it was that was a real like pinnacle for me, because you just went into every, it sounds so arrogant, but you just went into every game and you're kind of like just so full of confidence. And I think that, it was nearly even like that was sort of like a, what would you call it? Like just going into the game with that confidence also then gives you the ability to play like well. Like
play good.
It's just funny just like the
effect.
Mental. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
How was Ricky as a coach? Was he a coach when you were there?
Yeah, Ricky coached me my whole career.
Yeah.
I mean, he was okay. I got along with Rick.
You did you?
Yeah.
And then 2019, you got a serious knee injury.
Yeah. So 2019 was, I think, if you were to look at my Wikipedia page, whatever, you would see 2019 and see my knee injury. But for me, 2019 was the year that no one sees what was happening behind the scenes for me, because 2019 was a year when I did my knee. I think it was round 2. Like it was round 2 or 3. It was like one of the first games of the year. Did my knee. I was coming off contract. I was sidelined for the whole year, and behind the scenes, I was struggling with depression. I had a really severe gambling addiction. I was like partying. I was just really in a very, very unhealthy place. and then I did my knee as well, and coming off contract, not playing footy, severe gambling addiction, severe depression. And that was like 2019 for me was the year that like my entire life just fell apart.
Really?
Yeah.
What can you put it down to? The depression, the addiction, the numbing of the feelings and pain and emotions?
Yeah. Looking back now, as you've just said before, like hindsight is 2020. At the time, I was 24 years old. And once again, as I said, I had never really experienced hardship or challenge in my life because as a 17-year-old, I went into making 70 grand a year. My life had been just a sort of succession of just goal after goal was just sort of got there. Never really experienced hardship. Never had to actually develop any form of skill or resilience in myself in an emotional and a mental sense. And so as a 24-year-old, when I started dealing with these issues, I think I had a real hole, like I had a hole inside myself. And I probably had that from, a younger age. And I always thought once I have this, once I'm an NRL player, once I have a lot of money, once I have a car, once I have a nice house, once I have a girlfriend, once I have fame, once I have success, once I have all of those things, then I'll feel good. And I think for so long I pursued those things, and then I got to the point where I was like, all right, I have everything that everyone told me equals success and equals happiness. I have all those things, and the hole in me were just getting wider and wider and wider. And that's when I turned to, because I had no awareness and no tools or the ability to actually stop and sit with myself and listen to all the younger versions of me, what they needed from me, because I didn't have the ability or the awareness of that. Then I just wanted things that silenced everything, and just chose I need to silence all the pain, all the misery in me needs to just be silenced and shut out and numbed. And then obviously you combine that happening at home in your head, and then your career starts falling apart, and it just becomes a vortex of, just misery. And that's what it became for me, and led to the rock bottom and the most horrible place and saddest place in my life.
Wow. It really resonates with sort of my story too, because it's interesting how when you are having those dark moments, how injuries happen. I don't know if it's a coincidence or if your body's just like shutting down or anything like that, but more susceptible to injury. But I remember I was getting injured a lot, and then because I was injured a lot, I missed out on a contract to go play overseas.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing that I was sort of injury prone.
Yeah.
And then when I heard about that, and I was injury prone because I was partying so much and drinking and doing drugs so much while also trying to play footy, then I was just like, I'm a failure. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I've just missed out on an opportunity because I was injured. And that just spirals you out even more. And then you're like, I feel terrible. I don't have the tools and ways to deal with it. I'm not confident in talking to other people about it. I don't even know how to ask for help. No one else is talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll just suppress it. And then that just like snowballed into, I would say, I probably lost about 8 years of my life during my 20s.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like just completely numb.
Yeah.
I remember like Dad, I sort of came to when I was about 30. And I remember Dad messaging me saying, it's good to have you back. We lost you for a while.
Mate,
and I was like,
how did that make you feel at the time?
I felt really bad at the time.
Yeah.
I felt really bad that I didn't know how bad it was. Coming out of it's great because you have this outlook on life, and but looking back on it, I go.
I can say, how do you feel about that message now?
Oh, good now. Now.
Yeah.
Good now that now I'm like, sweet, like I'm back.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a good spot. I know what I need to be doing. But at the time I was like, fuck, did I just waste 8 years of my life?
Yeah.
Did I? Because I was like, the 20s, they always say the 20s are the best times of your life. You're playing footy, you're traveling the world. I hardly remember it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've just, partied that much or if it was that painful that my, memory was like
Just
a bit
block
hazy,
over
a bit,
there.
a bit blurry, man.
Yeah,
It really was. And I really struggled with that. And, what was your sort of lowest point? Because I know we all experience sort of turning points that, shape us forever.
Yeah. It's really funny that, like, you say that, because I remember I got this text from my mum once, and our family dog had just passed away, and she was like really, really upset. And this was 2019. It was like around that time. And my mum messaged me, and she said, I can't remember the conversation, but I remember the text message. And she said to me, I've lost my dog and I've lost my son.
Oh.
Like, and it was like, and that message still like sticks with me to this day, like just how painful, how painful that message was. But to answer your question, the moment came for me. I remember one night I was sitting there, I was in Canberra, and I lived on like the 13th floor of an apartment building. And one night I was just like crying, and I just was like, I just want this to be over. And it would have been midnight, and I walked out onto my balcony, and I was sort of like looking over the edge of my balcony. I was like, it would just be so easy. And I rang my mum, and I was like, because I didn't want to do it. Like, I was just sort of like, it was just something that part was just like, I just want all this to be over. Like, I'm just sick of being in so much pain. I rang my mum, and my mum picked up at like midnight, and my mum stayed on the phone with me till 3 or 4 in the morning. And she just was like, I'm not getting off this phone until you're all good. And my mum just spoke for like 3 or 4 hours on the phone. And that was the moment I look back at as just the absolute rock bottom of my life. And then after that was when I started to actually get help. And that was sort of that was the end of 2019. And that's when I started to see a psychologist and actually try to invest in myself and change.
Unpack a few things.
Yeah. And just get some tools, because as I said to you, I had no awareness. I was feeling all these things. I couldn't even tell you what they were.
Yeah, we couldn't put names to emotions at all. Yeah.
I was severely depressed, but I was just, for me, it was just, I was in a haze, like the same as you felt. I was just a bag of bones walking around in the world every day. I wasn't living. I wasn't actually engaged. I wasn't present in the world. I was just on autopilot for 12 months.
That's what someone felt like.
When you talk about like not remembering things, that's what it is.
I remember moving to New Zealand to play footy, and whether I did or not, but I don't remember calling mum and dad that much.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine my life right now without speaking to my mum and dad every day.
Yeah.
But I went through years without speaking to them, and I'm like, what was I doing? Did I have no grasp of the reality? Was I so in my own head that I had no idea what else was going on around me? And I think about it and go, oh man, there's so many times where I kind of regret or look back on and go, I wonder where my career would have ended if I dealt with some of the things that I was hiding this whole time.
But at that time, did you even know that you were dealing with things?
No, I knew that something was up. I knew that there's something up that I need to address, but I was too scared to do it. I was so afraid of finding what was up. I was really scared of the unknown. I was like, what's going to come up here? Maybe, and I was always procrastinating about it. I had this belief that it will go away next year, and then next year would happen. And I go, it'll go away next year.
Yeah.
I was always, delaying the inevitable. I was always too scared to sit down with someone. And the question was always like, how are you feeling? Oh, I don't know. Like, I actually don't know how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Or like, who are you? I don't know who I am. Like, I've been Elliot the footy player. I have no idea who I am now.
Yeah.
Like that stuff scared the shit out of me. And I didn't know where to begin. And you spoke about going to see a psychologist for the first time. How did that feel? Because for me, it was one of the best feelings, being able to talk about it. Was that helpful for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it was one of those, it was it was one of those steps where that was, I always think like it was one of the very foundational building blocks of just stability. And it was so, I still didn't understand, but it was just nice to actually go, I'm doing something for myself. Even if I don't really even know what I'm achieving or I still don't know what's going on. It was the light, the faraway light where you're like, okay, I'm going to have understanding. It was hope. Like just like seeing a psychologist was just like gave you that glimmer of hope. Yeah.
I've always asked my guests, what are your 3 non-negotiables for living a healthy and full life? For me, it's movement, community, and good nutrition. I've learned that what you fill your body with plays a massive role in how you feel physically and mentally. That's why I use True Protein. They're an Aussie brand doing things the right way. Clean, natural supplements with no artificial additives or fillers. Everything's made in-house in Sydney's northern beaches using the highest quality ingredients sourced from around the world. Whether it's supporting energy, improving focus, or reducing fatigue, their products genuinely help me show up better every single day. And just like Mind Your Head, they live by values I stand by. Be true, be you, and take care of your whole self.
I didn't know how to make the pain stop. So there was like, I had all these thoughts of, I would drive home from footy training. And there was a thought that was like, yeah, maybe I could do it. And then because I didn't, act on that thought in terms of, all right, that's a silly thing. Why are you thinking about that for? Because I didn't act on it in that way, I just let it fester. And then a month from then, I was thinking, all right, if I did do it, how would I do it?
Yeah.
And then a couple of months from that, I was thinking, yeah, I could probably do it.
Yeah.
And over 6 months of speaking like that and talking to myself like that, that dialogue became normal to the point where it was as normal as going, all right, what are we having for dinner tonight? That's how normal it was for me. All right, how would you do it if you were going to do it? And it got to a point where I was like thinking about it so much that, didn't talk to anyone about it, didn't talk to my friends or family about it, kept it all a secret. And then I remember one night, for me, the high was so good and it silenced all the noise, all the chatter in my head, everything. And it was the only remedy that I found at that point in time. Whereas not only did I not find anything else, I wasn't looking for anything else either. Like I wasn't being proactive around it. I was just going, all right, I found it in drugs. Maybe this is my life now. Maybe I've got to be taking drugs to feel good. And it got from a point where it was Saturday, Sunday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday to Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. And then I couldn't wait for a Friday night. Not to play footy, not to train, but to get on it.
Yeah.
I could not wait for all my money. Talking about being broke, all my money went towards that. And then the injuries started coming. I was still trying to play footy. I was playing like shit. Like everything just snowballed into this one big mess that I did to myself. Shut everyone else out. Like I had a girlfriend at the time. We were dating for 5 years. She did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I broke up with her. Couldn't tell her why. Thinking that would fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the issue. Relationship's the issue. This relationship, I feel stuck, that's why I feel like this. It's because I feel stuck.
Yeah.
Broke up with her. She moved overseas. I went, oh, fuck, I still feel like this. Maybe it's footy. Maybe I've played every season since under sevens, back to back, every single season for 20 odd years. Maybe it's footy. Maybe I'm burnt out. Maybe I don't have the love for it. Stopped playing footy, gave footy, I'm going to quit footy. Or gave it a break at least. And I said, oh, fuck, I'm still feeling like this. Kept blaming everyone else, all the other things, and wasn't looking inwards. I was too stubborn, too emotionally immature to look inwards.
Yeah.
And then I remember like a night, Friday, it would have been a Saturday night in August, where I went out with a bunch of friends. They all wanted to go home. It was like 3 a.m. I was like, I don't want to fucking go home because that means the high's going to end. Like, I don't want it to fucking end. And I remember like having a handful of drugs on me. And it's just pill form, and I was just like laying in my room in my apartment. And I was just like, well, what's the point of living? Like, I'm going nowhere with my life. I'm all alone now. I've just broken up with a girl for no reason. She wasn't the issue. And then I think the realization that I was the issue started to creep in. And I thought, stuff this.
Yeah.
What's the point anymore? I'm a failure.
Yeah.
and I was trying to tell people this and get across to people when they say, you know, it's a weak act. And I understand that thought process if you've never gone through something like that before. But what I try to tell people is that I thought I was doing everyone else a favor. I thought this was going to be a gift to someone, that for me not to be a burden to you. That's what I thought. I was like, I'll do everyone else a favor and not be here.
Yeah.
So then no one can be like, oh, fucking poor Elliot. You know, that's the head frame that I was in. And I remember like taking like a handful of drugs, going to myself, all right, if I wake up, I'm still in this shithole. If I don't wake up, I can be at rest.
Yeah.
You know? And that's such a scary thought process to look back on now and go, fuck, that version of Elliot, I feel really sorry for that version of Elliot. But luckily, like I woke up that afternoon, like obviously pissed myself. Like I was just a full on mess. I don't know how I didn't like, because I had all vomit down my face and like on the floor. And I was just lucky that I didn't, I passed out on my side. If I passed out on my back, gone.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many like scenarios that I played out that could have happened as to why I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I think even then, that happened in August, and I was so in denial still. I was like, "Oh, Elliot had a big weekend." No, honestly, like I was so afraid to admit that that's what I tried to do.
Yeah.
That I remember going later that year in December for New Year's. I went down to a road trip down to Sydney for New Year's, and had a bender for 4 days. Didn't sleep for 4 days.
Yeah.
Like proper out of control, like pushing my body to the absolute breaking point, like just trying to end it pretty much. And then I got back to Brisbane, and then I couldn't sleep. Like my nervous system was so fried that I just, every time I went to sleep, my body would shock me awake. And I finally checked myself into hospital at like, it would have been midnight or something. And then I would have stunk. I would have looked like crap. 4 days on it with no sleep. And the nurse was like, what's been in your system? Like, just be honest with her. So I told her, completely honest with her. And then they did some blood tests, and I did a urine sample, and my piss was brown. Like it was just like, your livers, your kidneys are gone, failing. You need it. They put me on a drip, and they gave me a carton of waters, and they're like, you can't leave until like you're hydrated again.
Yeah.
And I remember like laying in hospital, kind of like looking around, thinking, like, what have I become? Like what am I that weak in terms of I have no resilience. I don't know how to handle setbacks and challenges. I don't know how to handle the ups and downs of life. Am I that weak that I have to self-destruct, self-implode so much? And I remember like they have like a chaplain that goes around in the hospital, and I remember like he was just walking by, and then I think the nurse might have said something to him. I'm not too sure. And then he just asked me like, "Is everything all good at home?" And me being emotionally immature and in denial, I was like, yeah, everything's all good. He's like, is it?
Yeah.
And like looked straight through me.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah. And he went, and just like kept going. But even that subtle look or that eye contact was like,
yeah, you're full of shit.
You're full of shit.
Yeah.
Full of shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough money to pay for the to go into the hospital. I had no money.
Yeah.
So I had to call mum and dad to transfer me money, and they go, well, it's midnight. Why are you asking for money? Oh, I'm checking myself in the hospital. I'm not feeling that great. And they were like, all right. And even that awkward silence and like conversation that I had, I knew they knew. They knew that I knew that they knew. And we still didn't say anything.
Talk about it.
But that, like, you talk about how you're on the phone with your mum for 3 hours and just talking to her. I had that version of that when I was laying in hospital, and I had that awkward conversation with mum and dad that lasted probably 20 seconds, and we both were kind of like wanted to say it, but we never did. But even that moment where I knew that they knew something wasn't up, I got off the phone, and I just thought about them as people moving to Australia from New Zealand and having no money and raising 3 boys and having, mum had the same job for 30 years. And I just thought about all the sacrifices that they made, having 2 jobs, and they were always present. They were always taking us to footy trainings, any sport carnivals that I had, anything that I ever needed, not everything I ever wanted, but everything that I ever needed in life was there.
Yeah.
And it really pissed me off, if I'm being honest with you, that's how I was going to repay them.
Yeah.
you know, the love I have for mum and dad and all the things that they've done for me in the family, all the sacrifices, like they're 70 now and they're finally like doing a world tour. You know, they're 70 and I'm thinking to myself, man, they've sacrificed so much that they're 70 years old and now they're living their life. Whereas they've given me everything that now I can do that stuff. I was doing that stuff when I was 20. You know, at such an early time in my life.
Yeah.
And this is how I was going to repay them.
Yeah.
To do this to them and to potentially cause so much lifelong heartache and pain just because I was too afraid.
Yeah.
You know, giving into that fear all the time. And I remember just laying there thinking, all right, it was like a switch flicked in my head. I know a lot of people go to, you know, rehab and they go to counselors, and I have done that, but I always pinpoint that moment to laying in that hospital bed and just thinking about mum and dad and going and looking around and just like, look at the mess that I am right now. I never want to be that again.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like sort of the turning point for me where everything changed. It wasn't a fix overnight. Yeah. But like everything changed from that point on where I was doing stuff for me rather than anyone else.
And like obviously you experienced something similar, but what do you think it is about men that it requires us to, for a lot of us, to go to literally the absolute rock bottom or the you know, the end of the train track before we go, oh, you know what, I think I need to do something different?
I heard a quote and it resonated with me that the fear of change, you know, for men to change, the fear of change has to outweigh your current pain or reality. So my pain wasn't bad enough for me to change. The pain that I was going through wasn't bad enough. And I have conversations with my friends about this. I was like, do we have to go to rock bottom? How can we create that change or make that change before we go to rock bottom? Why does it have to be pain related? Why do I have to experience near death or traumatizing pain or so much heartache and sorrow for me to change? Like, why is that the key motivator? You know, because a lot of the time I think about, I was super lucky. You know, a lot of people don't come back from those moments. You know, that moment in August, that was 50-50. That I made it out of that. And a lot of people, you know, I think the stats are now that 9 people a day, 7 men, 2 women commit suicide. That's ridiculous, right? So there's a lot of people that don't get that second chance, that second opportunity to change their life. Especially with men, I know that it's taken generations for us to be in the situation as bad as it is, and I understand that it's going to take generations to get out of the situation, and a lot of it's modeling these habits, these values, the vulnerability, the emotional regulation to our young people. And I know that it's a lot of people like, oh, there's so much noise and there's so much money in mental health. Why aren't the stats changing? I go, yeah, but it's not going to change overnight. It's taken us, you know, 50 years to get in this point. Hopefully with all the initiatives now, all the money behind it and all the people talking about it, like people like you and I, hopefully it's not going to take 50 years to get out of it. It's going to take, you know, a generation to get out of it, but it's going to be a slow. You know, I'm doing this. What I'm doing now, I'm doing this for the young kids coming up, the young boys coming up that felt what I felt, but now they can turn to someone or they can read something and they can look at it, you know, listen to a podcast or read a book about it and go, oh, that's how I feel. Maybe there is a way out.
And here's the pathway that's already been paved by somebody else that I can follow.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of men, are we all stuck in that old ways a little bit, or what's been modeled to us? Not just by our parents. Like I never blame mum and dad at all. I never want to put blame because they grew up how they grew up, like with what modeled to them. So it's all been passed down, and I understand that. So a lot of the conversations I had now with men that are our age or even older is to try to get out of that model. Or, you know, we talked about in the sauna today how when guys open up, they'll often be judged not by women, but by other men. And being judged by other men, you're creating that stigma even stronger. You're adding to the reason why men don't want to open up.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, judging other people for being vulnerable and sharing, you know, things that they would feel deep shame and guilt over. to shame someone for being open and honest about that is, I don't know how that would, to me, that just it's just, I don't know how that's even appropriate.
Or even, I guess from our experiences too in the footy culture, like that's just, I'm happy to know now that I've got some close mates playing professionally, and I'm not too sure what it's like in the league, but in union it's come a long way in terms of being open and building that connection, and they've realised like you get the most out of you as a player when you're the best version of yourself off the field too. Yeah. When you're everything's going well with family and friends and your life's sorted away from the field, it turns out your footy takes care of itself. And I got a mate who's playing he's playing for the Wallabies, plays for Australia, and he was saying that back when we were sort of playing, like you only saw a psychologist, a team psychologist, if you had something going on. If you're struggling with something, you'd go to see them. What he was saying to me, that if you don't go to see someone, then you've got something wrong. So I love that the narrative's changed now, that they use it, because when you get to that level, as you know, like everyone's good. Everyone's weapons in their own right. Like everyone's talented. Everyone's got the skill set, but it's that mental game that is like the edge that, is that 1 or 2% edge that you're going to get over the opposition. So he was saying that, man, everyone's got a mindset coach, or everyone talks to a psychologist. Everyone is trying to understand how to get the best version of themselves on the field. How do I reach my full potential? And a lot of it, to be honest with you, like 99% of it's all that the mental warfare that we play with ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I fully agree. I've nothing to control.
I concur.
I concur.
When was the moment you stopped playing? Like, was it, I talked about sort of my moment. Was it really hard for you to, I know you had a really terrible year, that 2019, and how did you come to terms with giving footy away?
Well, so I came back to Brisbane in 2020, and I was like, okay, I'm done with footy, because this was when I was probably 6 months into trying to sort stuff out, and I started seeing all the culture and footy as a really negative aspect of my life. And so I came back to Brisbane, and I went working with my old boy out west in Western Queensland, and I was done with footy. And then a number of my mates, they were playing Queensland Cup, and they said, like, Beto, come have a year with us in Cup. And I was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, like, I'll come do that with you. So I went and played Queensland Cup in 2021, and we went through the GF that year and lost the GF. But during that year in 2021 I went to rehab. And I look back now and I think the reason that I went to rehab in 2021 was because I went back into footy.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a catalyst.
But that was a catalyst for, because as soon as I was back in that culture, and as soon as I stepped back into those routines and those habits and places, all the stuff that I'd sort of spent a year getting, like trying to work through, like that, it started reinforcing that stuff back in me. And I'd been going well for a longer period of time. I was back playing footy, and it just all sort of fell apart again. And had a weekend, like a really bad weekend. And I just went to my mum and I just said, Mum had been trying to get me to go to rehab for 2 years. And I went in, and I drove to my mum's place, walked in the front door, bawled my eyes, I just broke down, just bawled my eyes out. And I said, Mum, like, I'm just sick, like this, it has to change. And I said, I want to go to rehab. And I think that was a Sunday. And I went to rehab the following Monday, because you started on Monday. So I went to rehab 8 days later on the Monday, and spent a month in there, and came out, finished the footy season, because me, mum and dad were like, you got a responsibility, you got a commitment to your team, to your coach, like you've made that commitment, you go back there and you finish that season, and then I just wanted to be done. just wanted to be done. So, and that's when I went and stepped away. And my old man basically said, like, you're coming with me, mate. And went back out west and got stuck into work.
Never looked back.
Yeah, never looked back, mate. The best decision I've ever made. I honestly wish I had have done it earlier.
Yeah. Well, quit footy.
Yeah.
There's probably a hard question to answer. Do you think that because a lot of us wear, masks and we wanted to mask who we really were or things that we actually are passionate about, and you talked about how you're hiding that side of you in terms of the love that you have for fantasy books, and I think you said earlier, I think you've said in the past how you're sort of hiding your books in your luggage when you go on footy camps and stuff. I'm not too sure if you've thought about this at all, but do you think that played a role in you feeling a certain way, or maybe even getting depressed? Was obviously not having the tools and ways to deal with your emotions, but also hiding, almost self-censorship?
I cannot stress this enough. 100%.
Really?
There is not any doubt in my mind that when I got to a certain age, and it was, as you said, like I wore masks. It was like, okay, I need to be this person to be respected or validated, or I need to be this to fit in, to be a normal person in this environment, in this culture. I need to be this version of myself, and I need to get rid of all my childish fancies and dreams. And a big part of my recovery, and I've spoken with you about this before, Richard C. Schwartz, who is the father of internal family systems. Internal family systems is my favorite psychological framework in the world, and it's inner child work. And during my recovery, that was so important to me because there's like no doubt in my mind that during those years when I was really depressed, it was because there were so many parts of myself and so many younger versions of myself that I was just disregarding and I just discarded them and just said, like, you're no longer valid. And they were still lived within me, and they were screaming out just to be like heard and seen and recognized. And so a lot of my recovery and sort of like healing as such was actually sitting with myself and going, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? And what part of me, what's the part of me that just wants something to be heard? Like, what's the pain in me is a part of me that needs something from me that I haven't been giving it. So learning how to sit down with yourself and actually go inside and say, there's a 12-year-old version of me who loves magic and who loves dragons, and he wants his day in the sun, like he wants to be heard. Like, that's not a part, like I discarded that part of myself, and it's such a core part of myself. So when you've just discarded such a big piece of your soul, how would you possibly find joy and fulfillment in the world? Like, of course you're going to be depressed. And Jim Carrey actually has a good quote. I don't know whether you know Jim Carrey's quote about depression, but Jim Carrey's quote about depression
Avatar?
that he says, depression is your body saying, I can no longer play this character. And that for me just like sums up everything like that I went through, because I was just playing characters to try and feel like I belonged. And everything, the place that I belonged already existed in me, and I had that already, but I was just so detached from it, and I just shoved it all away. And like, of course your body and your spirit is going to reject that, because it's so out of alignment with your true place in the universe.
I do want to thank you for that book recommendation, because I did read that.
Yeah.
And for anyone that hasn't read that, it's a must read, and it's put so much in perspective for me with all the little characters, all the little boys in my life that I suppressed, and I hated. To be honest with you, like, I hated them. I hated that I felt a certain ways. And then it also helps you to understand what that little boy is, where it's come from, why it creeps up. And I remember I used to get really pissed off that I used to get. I get social anxiety.
Yeah.
I was always so like anxious about going to crowds and talking to people, and always like, you know, worried about what am I going to say? Am I going to sound like an idiot? Why did I sound like that? But I was so hypercritical about me being in social situations.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to understand that it's okay to bring that little boy along that feels anxious.
100%.
Instead of showing him away and go, you wait at home, I'll see you later.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and Gabor Mate talks about this too. It's just like when that little boy comes up with you, bring him along.
Mate, hold
give
his
him a
hand.
hug.
Yeah,
Hold his hand,
And
give him a
and
hug
say-
and take him along.
And say to him, say, mate, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
I've got this. Like nothing. Like you're not in any danger.
Mm.
And that was a big thing too. And I think recognizing all those young versions of myself. But then even as I like got to a point where I was much more stable and regulated and happier, I felt so much shame, and then I started to really like try and shove away the addict and the depressed version of myself. And I actually developed I was like, oh, I hate that version of myself, you know, like that, like what a low person, like that can't be part of me. And I think then what the next step for me was then going, you know what, the addict and the depressed and the sad and the lonely, that version of me too, that's a version that also needs my love and acceptance.
And forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly.
Took me a long time to forgive
mate,
myself.
Like to forgive that, to sit with that part of yourself, the one that caused so much pain and so much hurt. And the person that my mum texted and told that she'd lost, like that person, that version of you, that he also needs love and forgiveness, and he needs to know that he's accepted, and that even though like there's, you know, consequences for what he did, that doesn't mean that he's not loved or he's not welcome.
Worthy of love too.
Yeah.
That's so true, because I went through that period where I was really, and to be honest with you, it is still very hard for me and uncomfortable for me to talk about some of the things that we've sort of spoken about today around my own journey, because there is still a little bit of guilt, a little bit of shame, a little bit of embarrassment around that version of Elliot.
You always feel that though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I also feel on the flip side of that is every time I do talk about it, it sheds a little bit of guilt off. It sheds a little bit of embarrassment off. It sheds a little bit of those feelings that I was always suppressing. So even though it's super uncomfortable, when I do talk about it, I do feel lighter. I do feel better. I do feel like more accepting and a little bit of forgiveness too. So it goes both ways with me that it does. I know that it's doing me wonders talking about it and understanding that there are going to be moments still where I'm going to look back and go, I'm trying not to call, like, I will look back and go, oh, fuck, you're an idiot. Why would you go through that? You know, a bit of judgmental. I'm trying not to remove that and go, no, he was just a poor lost kid. That's all it was. Even though he was a 27-year-old, I was still a little boy. You know, I was a lost little boy.
Yeah.
You know, I look back as a 30-year-old, looking back on it and go, man, even though I was an adult, I was still such a little kid.
But man, that's what I always say. Like, what age or when do you get to the point where we just go, righto, you're an adult now. So every part of your life to this point is now over. And I think that and then not teaching young men how to integrate all those things into life, because all of your all the neural pathways you create as a child, you don't wake up one day as an adult with a new brain.
Well, apparently society, you're 18 and you're an adult.
You know, you don't, everything, all of your you know, all of your coping mechanisms, everything that you developed as a child through teenage, everything like that still is there. And then it gets repurposed as an adult. So to think that you turn an age and then you just wake up and it's all of a sudden like, yep, I'm an adult now, is the most it's really harmful. I think that's a really harmful narrative to not say, hey, even though I'm a 30-year-old now and I spend every day going, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can tell myself, hey, I'm going to be okay. And if there are parts of me that feel threatened or scared, I can sit with them and go, I've got this, and whatever happens, we're going to be okay.
And I think that's where the book comes in. IFS
Yeah.
book comes in, that allows you to sit with.
You are the one you've been waiting for.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that book allows us to understand the little versions of us.
Yeah.
And to sit with them
100%.
and go,
Yeah.
I feel it too, Ben.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're on the road together.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be all good.
And to be an internal leader and sit
Yes.
there, sit there with them and go, we're all in this together. I love you all. You're welcome. I am a leader and I'm a trustworthy leader, and we are going to. I'm not going to make decisions that will be bad for us.
Harmful. Yeah. It's an incredible read if anyone hasn't read it. I know. I've talked about this a little bit, but when it comes to addiction and numbing and suppressing pains and emotions, often I think they talk about alcohol and drugs, but I don't think gambling gets enough of the attention. I think because you see it on sports, all the jerseys are sponsored by betting agencies. All the ads you see is sports bet responsibly, but they don't want you to bet responsibly. They want you to bet as much as humanly possible. And I think a lot of Aussies, I know a lot of my friends, I was definitely guilty of it, going to the pokies or going to the the horse racing. It's sadly almost become culture. As much as it is, getting on the piss and going to the pub and drinking beers, it's also let's get on the punt. It becomes so normal. How difficult was that to know that's almost a societal thing was the gambling?
Well, I mean, as you said, Australians are the biggest gamblers in the world per capita. So we have punting bred into our culture and our society. But the problem is if you are a drug addict or an alcoholic, you see that. I would say, I could look at you, if you're blind drunk, I go, oh, geez, Elliot's blind drunk. Whereas if I've lost $1,000, $10,000, whatever, you can't see that. And we have it, and phones, I can sit on my phone and within 2 minutes I can place 20 bets and no one sees that. Whereas you actually see the physical effects of other addictions. So I think that just that, the silence of gambling creates a sort of its own thing. And I've actually heard this mentioned too, that a real issue with gambling is that when you're alcoholic, the next drink won't change your life. Whereas in gambling, there actually is, even though it's, like lottery percentages, there actually is a chance that the next bet or, it can change your life. And that's actually something I've listened to a lot of psychologists speak about this. That is actually something that's really difficult with a gambling addiction.
That's the hook.
Is that the next time could
always,
actually change your life.
It's always the next time.
Yeah.
But this next one. This next one.
Yeah. So, but I think it's the fact that it's a really silent thing. You can do it really privately and keep it very hidden, and also that it's such an accepted thing. No one is if you're sitting at the pub at the tab every Saturday on your phone betting, no one's going to go, hey, Elliot, are you?
No one's going to think you're an addict.
Exactly. Everyone's just going to be like, oh, that's just a normal Aussie bloke having a good Saturday. And that's a real issue. I
think that's how dangerous it can be because it's so accepted. It's so easy to fall into it. And because it's, if you've got that group of friends, we talked about you're the sum of your 5 friends. If your 5 friends are at the pub drinking and gambling, and then before you know it, you're doing that every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're thinking, I'm trapped.
It's normal.
It's normal.
Well, you'd be weird if you weren't doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you take care of your mental health now?
Yeah, really good question. I think a big part of my journey was really developing the structure. Structure is really, really important to me, and having a healthy structure and maintaining that structure throughout your days. So that's and having the tools. So building the tools and the structure to know, okay, this is my structure and I know that it's going to keep me at a really good level that I enjoy being at. But if I ever dip or if I ever go up here, then having the tool to just go, hey, check in with myself and say, what's going on there? Is that okay? Oh, that's just an emotion. That'll be gone in a minute. Or there's actually something developing here that's been happening a bit often. And just having a routine. So every single morning when I wake up, the very first thing I do is I have a morning routine that takes me 2 minutes, and it's in my phone. So every single morning I wake up and I go through my morning routine, and just that, something as simple as that can change like your entire life. That just starts my day, and I go, okay, I've checked in with myself. I've reminded myself what my values are, and I've reminded myself what I want to, what my North Star is. And then the rest of my day can just build off that, and you do that every single day. And over time, when you build up that compounding interest, you get to a point where you've got that framework, routine, and structure. And what used to be, what used to be a great day for you now becomes just your base level.
Which is incredible,
so,
yeah. And I guess what you said, over time too, it develops trust in that system too.
Absolutely.
The more you do it, the more success you get, the more you realize, man, this actually makes a difference. The more trust you have in it. So when you are having a bad one, you can always go, well, I trust this works. I'm going to fall straight back into it again.
It's so funny you say that, because I read a book one time. It's How to Do the Work by Nicole Pera. And in it, she talks about building trust with yourself, being able to trust yourself to do something. And she says, start small. She goes, I worked with a client, and I said to her, all I want you to do is drink a glass of water every morning. And then, so she drinks a glass of water every morning, and then you do that for 30 days. And then you go, I'm a trustworthy person. I can trust myself to drink a glass of water every day. And you literally start with the tiniest thing, and it's just a building block. And then you can add something else. And all of a sudden, after 6-12 months, you're doing all these things, and you have built so much trust and confidence in yourself. And all it started with was a glass of water.
That's that's exactly what I did.
Really?
I felt that I was lying to other people, but I was also lying to myself. I was always saying that I would do something and I never would do it.
Yeah.
And it started to infiltrate in relationships and friendships, where I would say I would do something and I wouldn't follow through with it. And I became unreliable to my friends, but I think it stemmed from being unreliable to myself.
Yeah.
And I hated that version of me. And I've always been that version. I was like, well, just because I've always been it doesn't mean I'm always going to be it. Like I want to change that. I want to be someone that I can count on. If I'm saying I'm going to do something, I want to do it. I want to have my word be accountable. I want to, I want my wife to look at me and go, if Elliot says he's going to do something, I trust him that he's going to do it. Like that means a lot to me. So it started with like making your bed. It started with, healthy eating, but also started with cold plunging every day.
Oh yeah.
Especially in the middle of winter, and Jordan's like thinking, you're not doing it again, are you? and I said, I didn't say how long I'm going to do it for, but I had to get in, and it became almost superstitious, where if I didn't do it, I was kind of like, oh fuck, something's up, like something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it also became a point where Jordan would say to me, oh, I know you're going to do it. I go, why do you know that I'm going to do it? Because she told me. And even that subtle thing made me go, oh yeah, she knows I'm reliable. If something ever happened and I told her that I was going to do something, she knew that I was going to do it. But it also became that respect and love for myself that I can do anything that I put my mind to. But and I always hold off from saying things, because I was like, if I put it out there,
I have to do
I'm
it.
fucking doing it. I'm fucking doing it.
When your wife said to you, if you say you're going to do something, I know you'll do it. What did that make you feel?
So many things. I think respect. I think I was like, I felt. Oh, that's a good question, because I have thought about it. Because when she said it to me, I felt this overwhelming feeling of like trust and love, and she knows that she can count on me.
Yeah. And
I've got her back. If anything happened, I've got her.
What more meaning or purpose in life do you need than someone else being able to say to you, I can rely on you?
Yeah. The best. Because I've never been like that though.
Yeah.
And that's another thing when you talked about, so destination driven. I was very destination driven. I've always I want to be this. I want to have this so I can be that, and I was always so craving to be a reliable person,
but I wasn't acting on it. I was being so unreliable. I was so flaky. I was, I wouldn't show up to plans. I would say I would be somewhere and I wouldn't show up. Like, I never wanted to be like that. And I thought about the kind of dad that I want to be. How do I want to model my values onto my kids? Because the kids are a reflection of, the parenting a lot of the time. So I was super aware of that. I've got to implement these things before kids happen. I don't want to suddenly have a kid and go, oh, fuck, I've got to change all the things that I don't like about myself straight away. So before kids even come, there was a game plan of like, all right, how do I want my kids to turn out like? And there was a list of things that I want my kids to turn out like, or hopefully what they'll turn out like. And I hardly ticked anything off that list, me personally. And I went, all right, well, I've got to model this. I've got to model this sort of these values if I want my kids to be like that. So that was one of the biggest motivations for me, not just personally and not just in a relationship, but being a future dad.
Yeah. And as you said, that's something that I actually think about myself as well. And it's called it's a practice, and it's called your 80-year-old self. So when you get to 80-year-old, what do you want to be known for? Like, what do you want people to say about you? What kind of person do you want to be? And then you like reverse engineer that.
Work your way back.
You go like, I want to be known as like a very loving, very caring, very giving, very respectful person, very reliable. And it's like, if I want to be that when I'm 80, if I want that to have people how to talk about me through my life, I need to start that now, because I can't start that at 79 and then have people say,
have this opinion of me.
Have that opinion. Exactly right.
It was good for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, geez, about 79 to 80.
You really clicked in the gear.
That was a purple patch for him. Yeah, exactly. So it's like what you want to be doesn't say, you can't be a good father on the day your child is born. That starts
earlier.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Whether you're chasing peak performance or just need to reset, TLC has everything you need. Infrared saunas to help detox your body, reduce inflammation, improve circulation and calm the nervous system, leaving you feeling lighter, clearer and more recovered after every session. They've got cold plunges to reduce inflammation, boost mood and mental clarity and build resilience. They've got compression boots to speed up muscle repair and massage therapists who know exactly what your body needs. But what really sets TLC apart? The people. The owners are the kind of good humans you want in your corner. Down to earth, genuinely care and deeply invested in the local community. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself. I do want to get into where this sort of kicked off in terms of your book talk, because I don't know how it got into my algorithm, but if I'm being honest with you, I remember you playing footy.
Yeah.
I think that's when I saw the book talk kick off. I went, fuck, I know. Fuck, he looks familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen you in a Raiders jersey before.
Yeah.
How has sort of that, I know you spoke about the last 4 months, how it's sort of blown up to where it is now. How's that journey been? Like even the moment putting your first video up, I know we've talked about, putting yourself on social media in the limelight, opening yourself up to all sorts of different personalities on social media. What motivated you to put your love for fantasy novels or your love for books in general out on social media?
Yeah. It started with, I was having, and this is a part of the journey as well, because over the past couple of years, like I really, really reconnected with like fantasy and that inner child within me who just loves like fantasy stories and magic and, wizards and all that sort of stuff. So I've really gotten back into that side of myself, because that, like during my depression and stuff, that really fell away.
Oh, you stopped reading?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
right.
when I was like really, really depressed and gambling all the time, I wasn't reading in my spare time, I was gambling. So that sort of really fell away. So a big part of it for me was reconnecting with, and I always say that to people, fantasy novels gave me the map back to myself. Like a large part of that, like connecting with who I am, was through books, and that was like the map to pick up the pieces I dropped along the way. I did that through books, and I just was at the point where, once again, I just was so sick of trying to minimize myself or just pretending I didn't love, pretending I don't believe in magic, pretending I'm not a 30-year-old man who's like, I love dragons. I was so sick of it. I said to my friend, I said, I want to like meet a community. I just want friends who I can talk like fantasy books with, because I don't have anyone who's read the same books as me. So I was like, I just want somewhere I can talk about books. And she said to me, you should get on Book Talk. And I'd never had TikTok. And I was like, what is Book Talk? She goes, it's just a subsection of TikTok where they talk about books. And I was like, that's like, sounds exactly where I want to be. And I didn't even know then what it was. And so I just like downloaded TikTok and just like I watched a couple of videos. I was like, okay, cool. Like I sort of get it. And I just put that first video up expecting, I just wanted 5 people to talk to, you know, like I just wanted to talk to 5 people who knew the same books that I did. I put that video up, and if you watch that video, it's a terrible video. I'm stumbling, I'm like umming and ahhing, and just like, it's a horrible video. And I just put it up because I was like, 10 people will see this. And of those 10 people, if just one of them like becomes someone I can talk to about dragons, I was like, that'd be perfect for me. That's all I need. Because I'm so isolated, like with work. Yeah. I'm somewhere out in Western Queensland and isolated, and I wanted someone to talk to. And then I went to bed and I woke up in the morning and had like 1 million views, and it's
incredible, eh?
Yeah. And I think it's just and so many great things now have come off the back of that for me. And I just think what a important reminder and reinforcement of the lesson that when you're actually just your true, authentic self and just align with what you're passionate about and what you believe in, like what can actually come from that. Because there's been, as I said, like so many younger versions of myself feel so validated and seen because of it.
Do you feel more understood by your audience now than you did ever playing footy?
Well, like without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Because I was who I was when I was playing footy. I wouldn't say I was a lie, because authenticity is a hard concept.
You're one version of yourself, wasn't you? There was
one,
like the footy version.
That's right.
But there was so much more to you than footy.
And that doesn't mean that those parts of me aren't authentic. It just means that I was giving 10 or 20% of 100.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's what I was coming back to as well. With it's still important to recognize those parts of yourself that maybe you think aren't so great, because they're still a part of you. Like they're still part of your authentic self. But people were getting a really curated version of me that I thought was what I needed to present to the world, and no one actually knew who I was or understood who I was, because not their fault. That's my fault. That's my responsibility.
So how does it feel now though to truly be aligned with your love, your obsession, your passion? You know, I've said to you before, like you can see it in your eyes where you talk about books. Yeah. I love it. I honestly love it. But you can see that, you know, you're worlds apart from, you know, who you were 5 years ago. What's it like now to have a community where they all share the same passion?
You know, something that was like really hit me hard. Someone said to me recently, a close friend of mine, she said, I seen a photo of you. She said, I had a memory come up in my phone of us like 5 years ago. And she said, Luke, it actually made me really sad because your eyes look dead. That's what she said to me. And I was like, that's really, really hard to hear. She said, your eyes look, she goes, it was really, really sad and confronting, because she goes, I looked at the photo and I was like, your eyes look dead. She goes, now I see like aliveness in your eyes. And I forget your question, sorry.
How does it feel now that you're truly aligned with who you are and you found a community and you don't have to, you know, the mask is down. Like you don't have to pretend anymore. You can comfortably, I don't know, if you're still comfortable, you can comfortably be yourself and not worry about anything.
I'm very, very comfortable. Yeah. And the thing is that, as we spoke about before, opening yourself up online, I'm more than happy to receive criticism and have people like send me hate, because finally for once I don't have this ego constructed around me. Whereas, you know, in the past when I had this ego construction living around me, if someone had have, you know, said something about me, I would have been like, oh my God, they can't, like, they have to like me or they have to think this way about me. Whereas now I'm just like, this is who I am. If you hate me, I'm okay with that, because
you're hating the real version.
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
hating a fake version.
exactly.
Like, I'd rather be hated for who I am than
100%.
liked by someone that I'm not.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly.
you can sleep well at night. You can look in
Yeah.
your mirror and you can know that this is the real me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for a very long time, you know, I hid the real me too. Like I thought I had to fit this footy mold. You did as well. So it's I think it's a good message. It's never too late in life to
No, never.
really do it. If you've got a feeling, if you're not aligned in life, it's never too late to chase that.
And I think no matter what age you are, if you want to do something that you're passionate about, like I might be 50 and discover something I'm super passionate about, and it's never like, you know, and I just want, as we've spoken, I hope that young men and young boys can see like you and I and many others and go, you know what? I don't have to perform to something that I'm not. I don't have to wear a mask and not have to get to the places that we got to then be like, okay, I need to change something. That's what I really want. I want young men to know that what they feel and who that they, and the wonder and the magic that lives in them is very valid and welcome in the world, and they don't have to discard that and suppress that to fit in.
Well, you are a role model when it comes to allowing young boys to be comfortable in their own skin, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that sit with you? Do you like that? Are you proud that?
I wouldn't say that that's not my why as such. Like I was never like, I want to be a role model for young men, but my why is being genuine to myself and looking after me and all the younger versions of myself, and making sure that I feel very integrated and whole. And if that allows other young men and young boys to if that gives them the what's the word I'm looking for?
Permission, maybe.
Thank you, permission. If that gives them the permission to be themselves, then I could not be any more happier in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a byproduct of you living genuinely. Is people go, well, he is a role model. Look at him. He's aligned with who he is. He's genuine. He's doing it for the right reasons. How's your relationship been with social media? We spoke in the sauna this morning that I didn't have social media before the podcast. I found it very toxic, and that also was me being in a terrible mental health state, which didn't help being on social media. Comparison and comparing yourself to other people online, and understanding that online's just everyone else's highlight reel. It's a lot of the time you're not seeing the real version of people. And then this time round, I put restrictions almost of what's work. What I got to be on online for if it's work related. How's your relationship been with social media now?
I think
it can be very fickle.
Well, the internet is the Wild West.
No rules.
But I always remind myself, and as someone who's received both like a lot of positivity and also a lot of hate, I don't know these people. I don't know what kind of day they've had. I don't know what kind of year they've had. I don't know what kind of life they've had. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know what any of their life experiences. I don't know what has made them the person that they are. So I have no grounds whatsoever to cast any judgment on anyone else. And I've also been the worst of humanity. So I have no leg to stand on as well. So I'm very understanding that the only thing that I can control on social media is what I post. And then I can only control my reaction to how that is received. And it would be very easy to respond to certain things with anger or just say like, that's not fair or that's not who I am, whatever. But when you are very secure in your beliefs and your values, you don't need them validated by the world. And if people resonate with me, fantastic. if people don't, that doesn't make them wrong, or that doesn't invalidate who they are as a person because they have separate ideas or joys.
Yeah, exactly. And also different upbringings and, so many different like society values and that's the thing. It's just like, it's not going to dictate who you are and how you're going to live your life, and that's something that I've come to terms with, where I was living for the highs and the lows, in terms of I would get a message saying that episode was great and I would go, oh, thank you. It was great. And then someone would say to that same episode, someone would comment and go, that's shit. Yeah. And I'll go, oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need to change.
Yeah.
And what became of that was a huge roller coaster of pleasing the people that liked it and then changing for the people that didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I didn't, to be honest with you, selfishly, I didn't start this to please everyone. I started this to have real conversations with the person across from me, talking about things that we want to chat about, not chatting about things that hopefully someone else on the social media will like or agree with. So what I had to do was not only block out the bad, but also block out the good, because I don't want to be living for the people that are loving it. I don't want to be living for the people that don't like it. I want to be doing this like what you're doing, be aligned, be genuine, doing it for the right reasons, doing it because you love what you do, regardless of the validation that you get afterwards. And that's something that I had to really sit with and learn, is appreciate. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate all the love and support and people messaging me. Don't get me wrong, I love it. So keep doing it. But I had to remove myself for living for it and understand that that's beautiful. And that's a byproduct of you being genuine and you having real conversations that matter, that hopefully it's going to change people's perspectives and maybe initiate positive change in someone's life. But I couldn't tie my worth or my value into comments or people liking it or disliking it.
And you're spot on with the worth thing. I think you got to be very careful to make sure that your worth comes from your values and your purpose in life and what you define, and make sure you actually do define that to yourself. Because that was another issue for me for a long time, was that I didn't know what my values were. I didn't know what I got out of bed for, So to know what that is and make sure that that's where you draw your validation and worth from life from, and make sure it comes from you as a person and inside you, not from other outside things. And then it makes social media much more easy to navigate when your worth isn't dictated to you by positive or negative comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing, is don't let anyone compromise those values for anything. I think once you've got them set, you're not compromising.
But I also like, if someone online disagrees with me and they want to have a empathetic, compassionate, grounded conversation, calm conversation, mate, I'm happy for it, because I want to learn your perspective. I think it's when people come with anger and hatred and just want to shout and shove things down your throat.
Get in an argument, a screaming match.
That's when I just go, hey, best of luck to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I love understanding other person's point of view. And I think, why do you think like that? I'd love to know, because there's always past experiences, beliefs, childhoods that also come into that point of view. So always understanding like, why? Like leading with curiosity rather than judgment.
People are multitudes. Like within us, we contain multitudes of everything. Like every second of your life, for however long you've lived, lives within you. So to try and label someone or define someone by one, a minute of their life or something is just so, I think it just is really debasing of humanity.
Before we wrap up, I do want to just touch on the love and passion that you've got for books, because that has come later in life for me, if I'm being honest with you. Reading, because I was so inside my head and there was so much noise and there were so many distractions. What I found my remedy was playing sports. It calmed me down. It was my creative expression. I didn't lean into books later in life, and a lot of it's sort of self-development, sort of self-help books, and a book that really I felt really understood and it really changed my life, was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that I read that at 30 years old, and that was the first book I ever read.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
From start to finish.
First of all, don't be embarrassed.
Well, I think about that and go, well, you know, I've read books, you know, at school or something like that, but I've never sat down, start to finish, read the whole thing, absorbed everything, understood the story, you know, and with his book, I'm sure you have read his book, I hope. Have you read his book?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. You know, that book for me was just so life-changing in terms of hearing his story and understanding that, you know, the failures aren't, you know, they're not setbacks. They're just like a new direction or open up, you know, another green light and understanding that, you know, almost falling in love with the world's timing or your timing in life and understanding that it's all going to work out how it's going to work out and not stress so much over it. And even like I listened to his like audio version when he's reading it out to you. I was like, this is the best.
Yeah.
So I think that book for me was really the starting point. And I read it. You know, I'm not a good reader. Jordan will read a book or read a piece of a passage or, you know, a paragraph.
I remember it.
And she's just like, does it in like 30 seconds. And she's like, looking at me, I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm fucking going back again. And no, because I've had no practice.
Well, I was going to say, it's a skill.
It's a skill.
Like, it's literally a skill that
and
you have to
she's looking at me going, are you still reading it? I'm like, yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna like, you know, but that was the stepping stone for me to actually falling in love with reading and understanding that it is a skill. Like you're not going to be, you know, you're not going to absorb information straight away. And it's okay, because I used to get really down because I'd be like, what did he say? Just like, I just couldn't remember it. And there was just like going back and reading it and trying again. And I've read Green Lights, you know, I read it in 3 days and then I was like, I got to read it again. Yeah, so I read it again like that week. Yeah. And I've read it, you know, 4 or 5 times now. And someone was like, you know, Matthew McConaughey like reads it out to you. I went, yes, the best. So that book was really a stepping stone for me to falling in love with reading and understanding it is a skill and understanding you get so much value from it. Is there a book for you? I know you spoke about IFS and was there a book for you when you first felt understood or first felt seen or...
Yeah, I think for me, because I always felt like as a kid, I was always such a, I always played such like make-believe in my head. Fantasy books were always a place where I felt like I belonged. And in a world where I felt strange, like I always felt like I felt weird in the world. And then when I would read fantasy books, I felt normal. Like I felt I had the place where I belonged. And that's where my deep passion for books began. And why I love books so much is because there are, you know, the actual book itself is this big, it's got pages, but what that book becomes and where the places that they can take you and the worlds that live in books, to me, it's just so incredible. Like that, it's so magical, and not in a Harry Potter magic way. Like that's magic happening in the real world.
It's real magic.
It's real magic. Yeah. To be able to open up a book and be in a completely different universe with different people and characters and follow their stories, and like that became like a safe haven for me. Books were the place where I would go to feel secure and safe, and that's why I love books so much. And I could read a book, and what it means to me, you could read the exact same book, and it could have a completely different meaning to you. And
I think about that so much.
Magic. Like that's
how we interpret the world.
Yes.
And I always think if you're reading a fantasy novel, and then you could bring it to life, and then someone else reads and bring it to life, I'd love to see what they would look like, and the crossovers, and is that what you thought they look like?
It would be completely different.
It would be, wouldn't it?
And that's when I write, I try not to. I like to be like, when I give a description of a person, I like to just sort of. I like to be a bit vague.
Because so you leave it up to the reader.
Yeah, because as a reader, I hate when things are just like really like deliberately defined. Because in my head, I'll have a picture, and then when I read it, I'm like, well, that's not what I was picturing. And I'm like, oh, do I have to picture it like that? Because I want to picture it like this.
This is better.
Yeah. I'm like, this looks way better. So when I'm writing, I try to be a bit more vague and just give, for certain characters, like for really key characters, I'd give a bit more. But for just sort of like the broader world, I like to just give a rough description and allow, and hopefully when a book's published, allow the reader to build that world for themselves.
How is the reading? How is the writing process going? We spoke
Really
about it a little
good.
bit earlier, but how's it all going? Loving the journey?
I love it.
You love it?
I love it. As we spoke about earlier, when I'm in the flow and when like inspiration hits, it just I feel so much joy. And there's like there's a child in me that gets like is writing these worlds and writing these characters, and it's just like jumping with joy, just going like, how good is this?
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Do you find you see parts of yourself in the characters?
Absolutely.
You do.
And I draw a lot of the characters come from my own experience. Like a lot of the main character is very much me, very much through my lens. And then a lot of the supporting characters and people around him, I draw all the inspiration for them out of people in my life and experiences that I've had.
Is there a favourite book or trilogy?
Oh,
too hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
That's such a hard question because I've got like I love so many books and it'd be hard to separate them. But I would have to say like the Painted Man series by Peter V. Brett is one of my all-time favourites.
Yeah.
And it's 5 books. And then there's The Magician. There's the Riff 4 trilogy by Raymond E. Feist, which I also just like. They're probably like 2 real standouts for me.
You did a video and Peter V. Brett commented on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Thanks, man. Thanks for the support." And I was like, "That's wild."
Mate, because you know what? For me, like I was a 13-year-old kid. I remember. When I bought the Painted Man, I remember where I was. I was in Toowoomba. I bought it from Bookstore in Toowoomba, and we drove back out to Miles that day. And I read it in the back of the car. Like I remember where I bought it. I remember where I was when I read it. I remember how old I was. I remember that story because that story to me, like as a 13-year-old, I just loved it. And then when Peter V. Brett, 17 years later, commented on my video and said like, "Thank you very much," mate, it was just like, it was mind blowing. Like just and that's, once again, that's magic. Like that is magic happening in the real world. Like someone I read as a 13-year-old boy who lives on the other side of the globe, 17 years later, thanks me. It's just so cool.
You're in alignment.
Yeah.
You're in alignment. You are.
Mate, it's
incredible.
So cool. Yeah.
You talked about, the love for your mum, and was she the one that sort of got you into reading?
Yeah. Mum always modelled reading. Mum read to us when we were babies. Like Mum read to us when we were kids. And then once I was adolescent and whatnot, and I was reading myself, Mum would read books with me. And Mum like loved the books that I read. Like we still, as I've said this, we still talk about some of the books to this day. And she would read them because I would go to her about, "Mum, like this is the best book, please read it." And Mum would read it and then we'd talk about it. So I think she instilled the love of reading early on. And then that sort of reinforced itself as I grew.
Yeah.
And I obviously have an affinity towards it. Like I didn't just love it just because like Mum did it. Like I obviously have a deep love and a deep passion for myself, but that definitely reinforced it for me.
Do you think that's the key? Because I got stats here, and it's 67% of young boys read books for pleasure or enjoyment.
Yeah.
Compared to 81% for young girls.
Yeah.
And right now, young men are the demographic least likely to read in Australia. Is that how we encourage young boys to read? Is it being modelled to them by their parents or their caregivers or their teachers?
100%.
It is, yeah.
It has to be because I think now, and I'm not a parent, and it's a really hard space for me to talk in because I don't have children. I've never been a parent. So I feel really concerned about trying to step into that and offer advice. But I think, obviously with iPads and phones and everything now, the reason that we're reading less and less and less is because screens are becoming more and more and more. So once again, I'm not a parent, but it has to be modelled to our kids. And it has to be, instead of here's an iPad, because when we were kids, like, we didn't have iPads. So when I was in the car and we were in the country, so we would always be driving 2, 3, 4 hours to go places, I'd read books. That's what I did to pass 4 hours in the car. So if you're going on a drive, instead of putting screens in front of our kids, if we're driving somewhere or doing something, put a book in front of them, you know, and also read with them, read next to them, model to them that reading a book is much more important than sitting on your phone or a computer.
I totally agree. I went out to dinner with some friends, and they brought their 2 young kids. They would have been, you know, around 8, 10 years old. And I was thinking, dinner was 8 o'clock, and I was like, the kids are going to be tired. Yeah,
that's like for me.
Yeah. And they brought their puzzles, they brought their books, they brought crayons, they bought like
that's so cool,
like crosswords and that sort of thing. And they sat there the whole dinner. And you look around at the restaurant, and straight away, phones straight out. There you go, iPads straight away. The kids are like that, and they're doing their thing, and they'll come up to the dad and go, "I finished that one," and he'll pull out another one and go, "There you go, do that one." And halfway through, I went, "Oh, that's incredible!" Like I'd honestly, I never see that anymore. I'm not generalizing at all, but I just, you know, it's so often you go out to restaurants and dinners and lunches, whatever it is, and the parents just give it's easier. I understand that. I'm not a parent either. I understand how easy it would be just to give the screen to the kid. And I had a chat to them. I was like, "Oh, how have you done that?" Like, she goes, "It's been hard. Trust me, it's been difficult, but it gets easier, and just don't give in to it."
Yeah.
Just, they do the same thing, books, puzzles, games, whatever it is. You know, the kid, the young boy loves Steve Irwin. So when he gets home, all they put on is always allowed when he's on the screen, it's always educational. So all he watches is Steve Irwin. Loves Steve Irwin. He tells me like facts about snakes and spiders and stuff like that. But he goes, whatever you do, it's possible. Just don't sort of get lazy with it and sort of let it creep in like that. Yeah. Because then the kids get a sniff of it and they want it. So
as I said, and you develop those neural pathways, and that's so important.
Fast forward, what have we got on for the future? I know, when's the book release?
At the moment, we're hoping to publish in January 2027.
Yep.
But I would like it to be sooner than that. I would love to have it sometime next year. I'd say like back end of next year, which will be, mate, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. And just, obviously I have my business in Western Queensland, so I own my own logging company. It really gives me a lot of joy and a lot of passion of being in business. So just working and writing, just trying to, and just
living the life you always wanted to live.
Just trying to be joyful.
Yeah. What would you say to your younger self who hit his books and hit his emotions?
It's a really good question. I mean, I sit down with that young boy often, weekly, and talk to him. And it's hard because he was doing the best that he could. You know, he was doing the absolute best that he could at the time with what he knew. And I'd say to him is that he's valid, and no matter what happened in the future, he will be looked after.
Love that. We've got some quick fire questions to finish, so you can answer these as quickly or as long as you want.
Yeah.
What does success look like for you today?
Success to me is coming home at the end of the day, having achieved what I want to do for that day, which is usually just very simple.
What are your 3 non-negotiables for living a healthy and full life?
No, non-negotiables. That's a tough question.
Your top 3.
Top 3 is you have to come first before anybody else, because you can't give to anybody else if you're not available to yourself first. 3 eggs for breakfast.
That's a non-negotiable.
That's a non-negotiable. 3
scrambled?
Eggs. Nah, just straight fried. 3 eggs for breakfast. I've had 3 eggs for breakfast every breakfast for the past, I reckon, dozen years.
Yeah, never got sick of it.
No, never got sick of it. That's me. That's one of my, like, a part of my morning. Like, it's like, I know if I have 3 eggs in the morning,
It's going to be a good day.
it's going to be a good day. That's a non-negotiable. 3 eggs.
It's hard when you go traveling.
Bit of Worcestershire sauce too. Bit of
Oh,
Worcestershire.
is it? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm not at home, if I'm not in a routine.
Yeah.
But so 3 eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
And the last one would be, for myself personally, is to make sure that I read something every day, whether it be a paragraph, whatever it is, just to make sure that I read something.
Yeah, there's a quote from The Office that I really, really love. I'm not too sure if you've heard of it. And it says, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. And it really is sort of hits home because it captures the moment, that to be present and enjoy the moment, because, you know, you never know when it's going to end. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And for a long time, I've always been really, really hard for me to be present in the moment. My anxieties or my thoughts have always been worrying about the past or dwelling over the future. I've always been really, it's been really difficult for me to just be present and enjoy the moment. But this period of my life now where, you know, we talked about it, it's just like, these are the good old days. Like, it's always going to be the good old days. So just be present, enjoy this moment. Is there a line or a quote from a book that really sticks out with you?
Okay, yeah. So this is a quote from As a Man Thinketh. And I say this to myself like every day, every morning. And it's, the greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. And that to me is, I love that so much. Just like, especially like the oak sleeps in the acorn. It just, to me, there's something about that just really resonates with me. And I say that to myself. That's a part of my morning routine every single morning. I say that every single morning. And that's just, that's one quote from a book that just blows me away.
Is there a new meaning to that quote as you get older or go through different stages of your life?
I think that every single day, every single morning when I say that, that can mean a different thing to me.
Really?
Yeah. Not always.
Yeah.
But some days it depends on what I'm focused on or
the mood,
what's happening.
Yeah,
what's happening in my life at the time. That can change. That can change daily.
Love that. What's something you're still trying to figure out about yourself?
Oh, everything.
It never ends, does it?
It just never ends.
Yeah.
I think learning yourself, learning who you are is a lifelong process, and it will never ever finish, because there's going to be in 5, 10, 15 years time, I'm going to be a different person to the person you see right now. And I think just being very open and kind and compassionate to yourself for all of the change and everything you are and everything that you will become. I think that's really important.
What's the proudest moment of your life?
I think the proudest moment for me was like a very silent moment for me. The proudest moment for me was when I decided to actually change, and that was not done with any with a crowd. Like, that wasn't seen by anybody but me. But I know that there was that bloke who actually sat there and said, okay, I am changing. And that is the proudest moment of my life to me. And it comes with no fanfare. Nobody saw it. Nobody will ever hear about it. There won't be a plaque, there won't be a plaque made of that day or that moment. But that would be my proudest moment.
Last one. Who's your hero? I don't know whether I would say that I have a single hero. I think my heroes are people like you, and anyone who is willing to put themselves in a place where anyone who's willing to be vulnerable and share
parts of themselves in the hope that it will help other people. Every single person who does that is as a hero of mine.
Appreciate that.
Mm.
I've actually got a little surprise for you. I have a closing tradition of the podcast where I don't ask the last question.
Okay.
I get friends and family. They send in questions for the guests.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
So bear with me. So I have got your mate, one of your mates.
Who?
Who? Owen.
Oh, yeah.
He's
My
no
best
Is he your best mate? Is he?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out, Owen.
Yeah.
No context at all, but he goes, ask him how old he was when he worked out what Sunday school was.
That's so funny. Right. So I was my entire life, my sister went to Sunday. When we were younger, my sister went to Sunday school. And I thought Sunday school, I was like, why? We go to school from Monday through Friday. Why would you want to go do more school on Sunday? Mate, I think I was 28 when...
It's late.
It's very late. I was 28 when we were sitting down at some stage. We were sitting down having a family dinner. And I don't know, I can't remember how it came up, but I said like, yeah, Sarah, you used to go to do extra school on Sundays. And Sarah was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you went to Sunday school and like did more school. And Sarah was like, no, Sunday school was church. And I was like, what? I was like 28.
I didn't read any books about that.
Mate, my entire life, I was like, why would my sister, we do school from Monday to Friday, she goes and does extra school on Sunday.
Why is she trying to catch up?
And this, it was like, and everyone was just like piercing themselves laughing because like the entire time I thought it was just extra school.
Like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Luke, thank you so much for coming on today, man. It's been so good to get to know you on a more personal level. As I mentioned at the start of this, you know, the reason I truly fell in love with you and your content, you know, I don't have the same obsession and passion that you have for books, but what I put it down to is actually your passion in general. Like, you can see it in your eyes, you know, you can hear it in your voice when you're talking about these fantasy novels. You know, it lights you up. It really does. Yeah. And the reason I'm thanking you is because that energy is contagious. And watching your content, it's made me more passionate about what I love, and it's inspired me to go after the things that matter to me and the things that I love.
Yeah.
So I really want to, you know, give you your flowers and thank you for that.
No, thank you, mate. I genuinely, I deeply appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. No,
how
thanks
good.
for having me on. Cheers.
All good, brother.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Mind Your Head. If you'd like to support the show, be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really supports the show and helps others discover us. Don't forget to join us on Instagram and TikTok at mindyourhead.podcast.